Hello everyone. Today's session is about load balancing among multiple worker nodes. The Gladinet Cloud Enterprise is a file sync and share solution. So when you are servicing more than, let's say, 10,000 users, you're going to have multiple worker nodes. So today we're going to cover the multiple worker nodes and how to load balance among the worker nodes. So as you can see here, we have node 1, node 2, node 3. So it's a 3-node farm. The designed capacity for the nodes are like around 5,000 to 10,000 users. So a 3-node farm can servicing anywhere between 15,000 to 30,000 users. We're taking a look at the DNS that's on the Active Directory server. So node 1, node 2, node 3. So we have 3 different nodes. So now let's give it a try. We're using the default load balancing now. And then later on, we're going to switch over to the network load balancer, one of the way to do load balancing. So we just log in the user, and then you can see it's redirected to node 2. So we logged in at node 1, and then it redirects us to node 2. So let's try again for a different user. So we're now logging at node 2, and then we're staying at node 2, so that's fine. So there's a little bit of the random factor in here, so just try different users and see where they are at. So this one goes to node 3, and then try one more user. So this user goes to node 3 as well. So you just look at the address bar, and then the address bar, the address, most of the time will be different from where you log in. The more worker nodes you have, the more it's going to be different. So now let's try the other one. So for now, that's the default, right? We are using a per user load balancing. So now let's disable that, because most of the time you're going to have your own load balancer, such as F5. And then for the demonstration here, we are going to be using the 2012 network load balancer. So we're going to create a virtual IP address which is mapped to the external URL file dot, right? So we are changing the external URL from the node 3 to file, right? So when we're using an external load balancer, these nodes will lose their individual identity. So all the external URL will be set to the load balancer's URL. So now we are going into one of the worker node. You can see on the left-hand panel, like 20, 21, 22. These are the 3 worker nodes we have. And if you take a look at the network load balancing manager, you can see there's a virtual node, node 30, and then under the node 30, there are 3 load balanced to 3 different physical IP address. So if you go to the DNS, you can see there's a file entry there that's mapped to 30, and then this file DNS will be load balanced to 3 different worker nodes there. So now we are using the external load balancer. I call it external load balancer because from a functionality level, it's outside of the Gladinet Cloud Enterprise. Even though for this demo, the load balancer was built into the Windows, right? The Windows Network Load Balancer, but from a logical level, it's outside of Gladinet Cloud Enterprise. So basically, you can replace the network load balancer here with something like F5 or NetScaler. You can see we're logging at file.tsys.gladinet.com, and it stays at file, right? So it's load balancing to the same virtual URL. So now let's use a quick PowerPoint to demonstrate our point. So now this is the default Gladinet load balance. So the user comes into any one of the worker node, and that worker node may be directing the user to another worker node, and then that worker node will be used to servicing the user. So now let's go to our second load balancing way of doing things, which is, I just call it your own load balancing. So it could be the Windows network load balancer, or something like F5. So from a logical level, it's an extra layer outside of the Gladinet Cloud Enterprise. So let's say that's the load balancer. So the user request will come in, and then all the worker nodes are like parallel underneath, losing their individual identity. They all have the same external URL, and then the load balancer returns the request to the user. And now again, to review what I've shown in today's session, there's a load balancing here. If you have your existing load balancer, you can disable the Gladinet load balancing. That's all. Thank you.